Anyone could be cast as background for TV and movies, but here's what I think you should know if you want to have the best experience from somebody who used to work in film and TV. And the easiest way to get on set is to be cast for crowd scenes. Now, there are a lot of variations for crowd scenes, but a crowd scene doesn't guarantee that you're actually going to have any of the cast with you on set. I worked on quite a few movies and shows when we were shooting second unit, and what we were getting was primarily the footage that you were seeing in between scenes. So you might be cast as somebody walking on the street, you might be in a sequence where doing driving scenes over a couple of nights, you might end up in a scene where you're way tucked away and you don't really get to experience as much as you're wanting to see. However, it's still a fun experience to go through the process of to see the experience of how they're shooting these scenes, to get to know people who are working behind the scenes. The other two things I think are important is that you're not going to really know the schedule ahead of time. So the way scheduling works for TV and movies is every day is built on the day before, and every union has certain turnaround times, and that changes how they start every single day. So you might have a call time that starts at 6 a.m. on a Monday, and by the time you get to the end of the week, you're starting at 3 to 5 p.m. on a Friday going into the next day. So when they're looking to cast and they're posting these things to book people, they're going to give you some kind of idea, but they're not going to be able to tell you the time that you're going to be working. You might have a 9 to 5 job and you're wanting to be an extra during the week, but what ends up happening is you end up with a call time that's 3 or 4 p.m. on a Thursday, and suddenly you're not actually able to go to work on a Friday. Now, it's always worth keeping an eye on things because there might be something that's more interesting or they need something that's more niche. You have those scenes where maybe you're shooting at a gym and they have a certain aesthetic for the background that they want in the scene. Those are opportunities to get a closer interaction to what's going on. But if you're wanting to do this, I would make sure that you're prepared to have the day and the day after. The other thing is the days are really long, especially as an extra. There's a lot of waiting time in between the setup of scenes. You might be standing and walking for a really long time. There might not be tons of access into comforting spaces for you, depending on where they're shooting. Once you're booked for a scene, you will be given information on what you should be prepared to bring in order for costumes and hair and makeup to approve you. But keep in mind that what you're wearing is something that you want to still be comfortable in going into hours 8, 10, and 12. But if it's something you really enjoy, it's a great way to get on set for the first time and just to experience it. Being somebody who's in a big crowd might not seem very exciting, but it's something that ultimately ends up giving you the opportunity to work with people more. If Extras Casting knows that you're reliable, they've already worked with you, they know what you kind of bring, when they have other opportunities, they'll start to see your name. You might be able to get closer to the things that you want to see behind the scenes.